Whalebert and Sheldawn, Part 4 of 5, July 26th. The moon shone brightly on the white expanse of Cartagena Beach as Sheldawn paddled westward through the Caribbean in preparation for her long ordeal. The 9-night-old moon had been visible since sundown, and her mesmerizing illumination shone brightly, but Sheldawn had waited another 2 hours after the sun setting before setting her flippers on the wet sand near Lifeguard Station 8. Though the specifics of tonight's egg laying remained unknown to her, Sheldawn's vast experience with laying eggs was both instinctual and reinforced by the better part of a century of repetition. Sheldawn knew that ahead of her were the task of using her flippers to plod from the surf up the shore, to digging a hole for her 100-odd eggs with them, laying her eggs, covering them with sand, and she'd move with those flippers, sending a prayer to both Poseidon and his daughter Despone to watch over her eggs and deliver her babies safely to the protective sphere of water where the two ruled over all, and then return to the sea, spent, exhausted, and full of hope. Before heading to Cartagena Beach, Sheldawn had sent a message to Whalebert, letting him know that both she and the time was ripe, and that she expected to transition from sea to sand around 9:30. But though she'd looked for her Bunyan-esque beluga, she'd not spied him before exiting the softly lapping waves and trotting slowly and attentively to the reeds and dune grass farther away from the sea. With 2/3 its full power of illumination, the moonlight combined with the albedo of white sand provided a near pixel-perfect view of her surroundings, and despite her close-to-the-ground disadvantage, Sheldawn was able to view the scene as she struggled up the dunes. As she traveled, a spot of sand whispered to her, "Here, lay them here," and after turning in a circle twice to survey the scene, faced the lapping sea and began digging into the sand in preparation of laying her eggs. Though the time was ripe for turtle tourists to be patrolling the shores in search of sea turtles going about the business of laying eggs, Sheldawn neither heard nor saw any humans, a circumstance that both disappointed and pleased her. Pride Month was a celebration of turtlehood, and as much as she appreciated the interspecies admiration, as she and Whalebert had discussed at their last I Yam Who I Am breakfast brunch, the unpredictability and capriciousness of the human mammalia primates was a double-edged sword, and as she was tired, the lack of watchers allowed her to be a bit less on guard. In the time it took for Sheldawn to finish digging, the moon had advanced another 15 degrees across the night sky, and Sheldawn paused for both a final listen and another 360-degree inspection of her surroundings. An inspection she thought yielded a whalebird sighting in the shallow waters off the coast, and she was certain delivered the wafting sound of human laughter vying for dominance with the lapping tide slightly to the north. Her flippers, having performed their first task of transporting her to the perfect spot to lay her eggs, as well as digging a hole to receive said ovum, she transferred the labor of labor from flippers to cloaca as her 8-odd dozen eggs passed from her to the waiting sand. Straining and grunting, she was semi-aware of the human's movement, but her focus of attention lay primarily in laying. By the time Sheldawn was finished laying her eggs, Luna arced another 15 degrees westward, and she took both a literal and figurative breather before calling upon her much-used and rather abused flippers to cover her eggs before she slipped back to the sea. Breathing hard and desiring rest, Sheldawn again focused outward and was assaulted by the sound of shouting human voices coming from the beach directly in front of her. Listening to the voices, she heard raucous human laughter mingling with the moaning of a whale, and not just any whale, but rather the moans of her friend Whalebert. Whalebert was in trouble either the humans' creation or at the very least their entertainment, and tired as she was, Sheldawn knew she must quickly cover her 100-odd possibilities and hurry to help her single in distress reality.